against COVID-19.
I thought, based on my understanding of the vaccines and the clinical trials and the risks in young people, that really no one under age 30 should receive a COVID-19 vaccine.
Dr. Peter McCullough is an internist, a cardiologist, and an epidemiologist, certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine. He's also the editor-in-chief of 2 medical journals.
And what do you think parents should know if they consider getting their kids vaccinated against COVID-19?
Parents should understand that the risk of myocarditis with the Pfizer vaccine, which is the only one that's EUA approved for that age range. Moderna is coming along shortly, and I'm not sure about J&J, but the parents should know that the chances of developing severe myocarditis and requiring hospitalization are greater than developing COVID. Approved for that age range. Moderna is coming along shortly, and I'm not sure about J&J, but the parents should know that the chances of developing severe myocarditis and requiring hospitalization are greater than developing COVID and requiring hospitalization. COVID is very easily treatable in young people using a sequence of drugs. They can involve something as simple as an inhaler, hospitalization. COVID is very easily azithromycin in combination, so it's very easily treated. The myocarditis is not easily treated. It can be fatal.
A recently published study suggests that healthy young boys have a considerably higher chance of being hospitalized with vaccine-associated heart inflammation than with COVID. That study is yet to be peer-reviewed. In any case, the CDC says vaccines are safe and effective, and they recommend them to everyone 12 and up. Miguel Moreno, NTD News.
Natural immunity is more than 10 times better than vaccines. Okay, let's. Dr. Collins' claim is not an idle one. Dr. Peter Marks, the FDA's top vaccine official, said after the FDA's vaccine advisory panel votes were cast, "We are not bound at FDA by your vote, just so you understand that. We can tweak this as need be." Dr. Collins explained that he supports the third dose of the vaccine because the data shows that the effectiveness of the vaccine decreases over time. He said, based upon the data that we've already seen both in the U.S. and in Israel, it's clear that the waning of the effectiveness of those vaccines is a reality and we need to respond to it. But he failed to mention a recent Israeli study that found vaccinated people are 13 times more likely to get infected than unvaccinated people who were previously infected with the coronavirus. Researchers from Maccabi Healthcare Services and Tel Aviv University in Israel did a study to explore the strength and durability of vaccine protection and natural immunity. The study was published on medRxiv preprint platform. The research team used data from the Healthcare Services database to track the health status of 800,000 Israelis over the age of 16 from June 1st to August 14th. They divided the population into 3 groups. The first group had 2 doses of the Pfizer vaccine. The second group had been naturally infected with COVID and were not vaccinated. The third group had been naturally infected with COVID and received 1 dose of the vaccine. The naturally infected refers to those who have been infected with COVID and therefore have protective antibodies in their bodies. The risk of breakthrough infection with the Delta variant was 13 times higher for those who received the vaccine in January and February compared to those who were naturally infected with coronavirus during the same period. The researchers said this analysis demonstrates that natural immunity affords longer lasting and stronger protection against infection, symptomatic disease, and hospitalization due to the Delta variant. Whether vaccinated or naturally infected, the immunity produced will weaken over time. So the researchers again compared people who were vaccinated in January to February and those who were naturally infected with COVID-19 even earlier. such as those who were naturally infected in 2020. Statistics show that people naturally infected with COVID-19 at an earlier time have 1/6 the risk of infection after a longer period of waning immunity as compared to those who have had 2 doses of the vaccine. The researchers also compared the risk of serious illness in the 2 groups. They found that people who had 2 doses of the vaccine had 8 times the risk of serious illness than those who were naturally infected. The third group of people that the scientists studied were those who were naturally infected and then received 1 dose of the vaccine. The data showed that this group had a nearly 2-fold reduced risk of reinfection with Delta. In conclusion, these data show that the previously naturally infected population, although infected with a non-Delta variant, has a high level of immunity to the Delta variant, and that the overall protection lasts for a relatively longer period of time. Previously, Dr. Anthony Fauci had mentioned several times in his lectures that vaccines produce stronger immunity than that produced by natural human infections. The Israeli study seems to have completely overturned the perception. So, how serious is the pandemic?
Shut up and sit down.